Hello everyone, so terrific to see you again. It's Judy from Coffee, Cookies, and Books, and what we're going to talk about today is all of the new books that I've accumulated in the second quarter of 2026. Okay, so we're going to talk about all of the books that I have bought up until now, and I am coming to you mid-June. I think the last time that we did this was in March, so it's the perfect time to do it. I don't have that many. I have, 3 months worth, 31 books, but I am still going to do it in a similar fashion to how I usually do, where I split them up into separate videos. And that's just so that I can actually spend a little bit more time with each book for you. Okay, so, read some of the synopsis, all that sort of thing, or give you a lengthy explanation of the book. Of course, if it's a continuation in a series where the characters are the same, I can only give you sort of a quick synopsis of what happened maybe in the first book, and then we can kind of go from there with it. This first video, we're going to talk about a few romances I've picked up, not that many, sort of sci-fi fantasy, and then pure fantasy. So the pure fantasy would also include Romantasy. So it's kind of a split bag, but I'm going to try to do it in a way that at least you have an idea of what types of books we're going to talk about. And then in the second video, it is going to be 100% we're going to talk about thrillers, horror, mystery. So that will be the second video. And of course, there's no split there because it's just a mishmash of a bunch of books. Now, some of these you might have seen in that little unboxing video that I did. But in that video, I don't think I went into any lengthy explanation of the books. I don't think I read the synopsis of the books. So in this particular case, you're going to get more of a clear rundown of what these books are. And I'm going to read the synopsis and all that kind of thing. Okay, so what we're going to do is I think we'll start with the smaller batches and then we'll kind of move into the larger batch, which is the fantasy batch at the end. Okay, so we're going to start off with romance. Okay, so romance, literally 3 books. That's it. Okay, but we're going to talk about each book. So the first one that I got is Bulletproof by Moronova, and this is part of a group of sort of interconnecting. So the first one was Leave Me Behind. That's a standalone. Bulletproof is also a standalone. And then there were 2 others, which was Your Knife, My Heart, and then My Blade, Your Back, which was a duet. And it is dark couples romances in like a military sort of background. So I will read this because this is a standalone, as I said. He was built to be bulletproof. She was the one thing that can break him. Briar Thornton has spent months outrunning her past, but when she's drawn to the small Montana town of Bain Falls with the death of her late uncle and his estate to handle, she runs straight into a new nightmare, a man more dangerous than the one who tried to kill her. Roman Sykes isn't a savior, he's a weapon, cold, precise, and programmed by the dark forces to destroy anything and anyone. As the lieutenant of the covert Icarus squad, he's in Bain Falls on orders. Infiltrate, eliminate, disappear. But the new girl that randomly shows up in the small town fractures his control in ways no enemy ever could. Drawn together by their traumas, they burn through each other's defenses until love feels as lethal as war. And when Briar's hidden connection to Roman's mission is exposed, both will learn that freedom always comes with a body count. So that's that one. I mean, I love the covers. I think, if I remember correctly, that the author has something to do with the covers. And then, of course, we've got the interesting sprayed edges, whatever. I really want to read this collection. I have now all 4 books, and I haven't read any of them, but they are totally my cup of tea. I love books like this, romance books like this. So Yeah, can't wait to read that one. Okay, so next one is the third book in the Eden series by Devney Perry. So I literally just read Juniper Hill, which was book 2 in May. It was okay. It was good. First book I enjoyed a little bit more, but I liked the second one enough I want to continue on the series because I want to read. Each one is a different couple, but they're all related back to the Edens. So there is something there. It's either a brother, sister, whatever, that kind of thing. So this one is Talia Eden. So I think she is the younger sister, if I'm not mistaken. Loved Foster Madden for 1 year and 2 months and 11 days. It was on day 438 that her love died. The day he chose to marry her best friend, the day she vowed never to think of Foster again, until years later when he has the audacity to show up in her small town of Quincy begging for her help. The ink on his divorce papers is barely dry, yet he comes armed with apologies and promises. She knows it's all a ploy. Foster's the king of games and secrets, but he's got delusions the size of Montana if he thinks she'll help him train for a world championship fight. Except Talia has forgotten exactly what made Foster famous. The man has dedicated his life to victory. He's steadfast, he's determined, and he won't stop fighting until he's won her heart. So that's this one. Now I know Devney Perry has come out with a new cover collection. I'm not personally a fan of it. It's pretty, but I prefer this because it's romantic suspense, and this feels like romantic suspense. These covers feel like romantic suspense to me. So not, the other ones just kind of don't for me, but they're pretty. So I could see where some people would really be attracted to them, and you should definitely look into them if you're interested in getting into the series. I think it's on KU. I mean, I could be wrong. The first book is Indigo Ridge, so if you want to get started on it, I love Devney Perry's romantic suspense, so I can't wait to continue on with this one. Yeah. Okay, and the last romance we have is This Summer Will Be Different by Carley Fortune. Now, this was one of the ones that was in that little book unboxing, and I got this from Book Outlet because I wanted to try a Carley Fortune book, and I had never read one. So none of her books are continuing series. There are interrelated, kind of similar to what these books are like. So each book is a standalone, but they're not necessarily all related to each other. So let's read the synopsis on this one, shall we? This summer, they'll keep their promise. This summer, they won't give in to temptation. This summer will be different. Lucy is the tourist vacationing at a beach house on Prince Edward Island. Felix is the local who shows her a very good time. The only problem, Lucy doesn't know he's her best friend's younger brother. Lucy and Felix's chemistry is unreal, but the list of reasons why they need to stay away from each other is long, and they vow to never repeat that electric night. Easier said than done. Each year, Lucy escapes to PEI for a big breath of coastal air, fresh oysters, and crisp vino verde with her best friend, Bridget. Every visit begins with a long walk on the beach beneath soaring red cliffs and a golden sun. And every visit, Lucy promises herself she won't wind up in Felix's bed again. If Lucy can't help being drawn to Felix, at least she's always kept her heart out of it. When Bridget suddenly flees Toronto a week before her wedding, Lucy drops everything to follow her to the island. Her mission is to help Bridget through her crisis and resist the one man she's never been able to. But Felix's sparkling eyes and flirty quips have been replaced with something new, and Lucy's beginning to wonder just how safe her heart truly is. Now, this is one, it was actually the only one that Book Outlet had, but it was one of the ones that I knew existed, and I just loved the idea of, you know, brother's best friend and kind of forbidden romance, that sort of thing. So it was definitely one I was interested in reading, so I can't wait to read this one. Very much so. Okay, so that's it for the romance. So I think what we're going to go with now is we're going to get into sort of science fiction fantasy. Okay, so we're going to kind of start with, I guess what you would call more science fiction based books. And there's really only 3 that kind of fit in this category. And then the last one is kind of sci-fi fantasy ghost. And you're going to know probably as soon as you see it, if you've been following anything at this point. It seems to have been, it's a new book that just popped up, and I do really want to get to it. Okay, so first one is The Faith of Beasts by James S.A. Corey, and this is part of their new series. What is the name of the series? That is a good thing. The Captives' War is the name of this series, and the first book was The Mercy of the Gods, which I do have that. I am a huge James S.A. Corey fan, okay, because I have the entire Expanse series, and I'm actually, this month in June, reading the 5th book out of the 9. So clearly I love it. So this one is a little bit different. So this is a continuation, so I really don't want to read too much of it, but this is the monstrous Carrick's empire has built by subjugation and war. Thousands of species are bound by their sovereign's command in an endless blood-soaked test. Be useful in the eternal conflict or be slaughtered. So I think in the first book, it was more planet-based, the story. And in this book, to me, it looks more like it's stars-based. So maybe perhaps that little more of a sci-fi element. But I do get the distinct feeling that unlike The Expanse, which is pure science fiction, like pure sci-fi, I think this has a fantastical element behind it. So it feels a little bit more like that. Have not read it yet, though. So Mercy of the Gods will be first, and then this one will be second. So very much looking forward to reading it. I mean, like I said, absolutely love the Expanse series. The next one is The Last Contract of Isako. I think it's Isako. Isako. Now, I'm pretty sure it's Isako is how it's pronounced. By Fonda Lee. Now, this is a standalone, so it is not part of a series as far as I know. And I did pick this up, obviously, from Book of the Month. It was in that mini unboxing again, but I don't think I went into the entire synopsis. So we will read that, okay? The Last Contract of Isako is epic science fiction like only Fonda Lee can write. It's set in a world where money trumps loyalty. The elite have the power to extend life or end it, and one woman in the twilight of her calling must decide what's ultimately worth living or dying for. So live by the code, die by the knife. On the merciless planet of Akilo, where your job determines your worth, legendary swordswoman Isako commands the highest price. But every legend must come to an end. When her longtime client unexpectedly retires, she plans to follow, to walk out into Akilo's frozen wasteland with her head held high and her family enriched by her death. But when she's offered a final mission, she can't refuse, especially when she realizes who lies at its center. Martin, her last and worst apprentice, who somehow made his way to the top. As she's thrust into a world of corporate espionage and shadowy secrets, what she uncovers could forever change humanity's existence among the stars. So, it sounds pure science fiction, but it's like an older female samurai sort of idea. So, I love that. Yeah, and it has like a cold feel to it, so almost a wintry vibe. I don't know if that has to do with the planet that they're on, Akilo, that particular planet, but she says walk out into the frozen wasteland, so that gives you definitely colder vibes, right? Can't wait to read that one. Absolutely. I've not read anything by Fonda. I have one of her books, which is Jade City, which is the first one in the series. So I do have that one. I just haven't read it yet. It hasn't come up in my TBR. So this one I would love to read simply because it's a standalone. I think that would work really well. And the last one that fits this category is The Girl with a Thousand Faces by Sunyi. And this one, I got this from Aardvark. I did feature this in, I think, one of my releases videos because I remember reading some of the synopsis, which I always do in my release videos. Don't do the whole thing like we're going to do now, but it did interest me then. And then it was actually offered as a science fiction fantasy offer through the Broken Binding. And I saw that. But I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, I actually like this cover quite a lot. So when I saw Aardvark offer it, I went like, well, I'm just going to pick it up from Aardvark because that's like certainly cheaper. Yeah, Broken Binding books cost quite a lot for me to get because it's in British pounds, and with the Canadian conversion and the shipping, you know, a book is easily $70, $80. So like I did with Operation Bounce House, that was a trophy copy. I don't do that very often. I think that was only the second time I've done that. So yeah, gotta like the book an awful lot to do that. All right, so let's talk about The Girl with a Thousand Faces, and let's read the synopsis on this one. When Mercy Chan washes up on the shores of Hong Kong with no family, no money, and no memories, the only refuge she finds is the infamous ghost-infested slum of Kowloon Walled City. Since then, she has rebuilt her life working for the local triad as a ghost talker, and for the local and dealing with the angry and bitter spirits who haunt the district. The filthy gutters and cramped alleyways of Kowloon have become her home. But the past Mercy can't remember isn't done with her. An unusually powerful ghost has infested Kowloon's waterways, drowning innocents and threatening the district. It claims to know Mercy and secrets from her past that are best left forgotten. As Mercy is drawn into a deadly cat and mouse game with this malignant spirit, she begins to realize that the monster she fights within these walls may well be one of her own making. I thought that sounded fantastic. It sounds fantastic. You know, I mean, like true sci-fi. It's got that, yeah, like it's got the sci-fi. It's got a bit of a dystopian feel, I think. So, and then you've got that ghostly spirit in behind. So there's definitely a fantastical element to it. Love the sound of it. Also sounds like it's like a bit of a horror vibe too. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for that. So now what we're going to do is we are going to head into fantasy and romantasy. All right, so we're going to get started with the fantasy. Now, I don't have these in any particular order. Like epic, I do have epic fantasy in here, and I do have romantasy in here. So, and I think maybe, I don't know if the first one is kind of got a cozy vibe to it, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books to cover. So, a little more than double what we did in the last bit. Okay. So first one is Dance of Thieves by Mary B. Pearson. I have seen this reviewed by quite a few people. I think the one person is Carrie from Carrie Can Read. This was like her favorite book of last year, I think. Now, there is a second book. I think, though, she didn't like the second book as much as the first book, which was this one. But I read the synopsis, and I'm like, this actually sounds really good. So I grabbed the first book. A stunning new adventure set in the kingdoms of the Remnant. A formidable outlaw family that claims to be the first among nations. A son destined to lead, thrust suddenly into power. 3 fierce young women of the Rattan, the Queen's Premier Guard. A legendary street thief leading a mission determined to prove herself a dark secret that is a threat to the entire continent. When outlaw leader meets reformed thief, a cat and mouse game of false moves ensues, bringing them intimately together in a battle that may cost them their lives and their hearts. So that's this one. I thought this sounded really good. Yeah, I've heard, like I said, I've heard nothing but good things, and not just from Carrie, from a few other people have also reviewed it, really, really enjoyed it. So I thought I would pick it up. Okay, next one is The Breath of Fire by Amanda Bouchet. This is the second book in the Kingmaker Chronicles. So the first book was Promise of Fire. There's 5 books in the series, but I believe that the first 2 is, which is the second one, first 2 is one couple, second 2 is another couple, and the final 5th one is another couple. So it's the same world, and you do have to read them in order. Okay, because certain things occur that drive the entire story. So you definitely have to read them in order. So this one, I do not want to read, cannot read the synopsis because it would give away everything that happened in the first book. So these are your 2 main characters. Okay, that is Cat and Griffin. So in the first book, Griffin kidnaps Cat because he suspects that she's the person he's been looking for to help his sister, who is like the alpha, which is like the queen position in their city, which is part of a separate world. I don't know if the map is in here. Yeah, so there's the map. There's all the different sections of it, and they are, is it not Cinta? So this is the section that his sister is the leader, and he is second in command, and he's gone out to look for this Kingmaker, and that's who he believes Cat is. The one thing about it, it's nonstop action from beginning to end. Definitely. Were there holes in it? Yes, there were definitely holes in it, but I still did, like, you didn't get enough time to breathe to really worry too much about what wasn't getting answered. And I assume some things will get answered. And it's the other thing that I really liked about the first book, which I'm sure is going to continue into this book, is that a lot of the base lore for this fantasy world has a Greek mythology driving it in the background, which I was fascinated by that because I love Greek mythology. So I picked up this one. The first one I buddy read with my friend Amanda at Amanda's Booktopia, and her and I both enjoyed it. And as far as I know, she's planning to continue on with the series too. So I will be definitely reading that one. And that is definitely fantasy romance, but the first book was a bit of a slow burn before they got there. Yeah, I can't wait to read the second one. I think it's going to be really good. And so the same thing goes with this one, which is City of Mirth and Malice by Alexis L. Menard. This is the second book in a series as well. The first book was, I think I would remember, House of Bane and Blood. And the series is Order and Chaos series. So I haven't read House of Bane and Blood either, but when this came up on Book Outlet, it's just the 2 books. I don't know if that's all there's going to be, but that's all there is right now. And I wanted the formats to match, and it was the identical new ones that were published there. These ones are the actual publisher versions, because initially I believe it was self-published. Anyway, I can't obviously read this, and because I didn't read the first book, I don't know an awful lot about what's going on. I do think it has a bit of a steampunk and urban feel to it, if I'm not mistaken about it. And the 2 main characters are Nikolai and Camilla, and Camilla ends up marrying, I think, Nikolai as a deal to save her family's business, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But again, like I said, haven't read the first one. So we shall see. See how I feel about it after that. But I mean, it sounds like it's just right up my alley. And they're not long books, neither of them. This one is thicker. The other one is more like, I don't know. It's quite a bit thinner than this one is. This one's a lot thicker. Like this is 500 pages. I don't think the other one is like 400 maybe. So got to get to those. This next one is a trophy copy. Okay. So this is the hardcover version of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill. And I have already read this book. It is an absolutely fantastic book. I loved everything in it. Now, I think there are pictures throughout the whole book. Okay. I don't know that there's anything on the, no, there's nothing on the outside, but it is a signed copy. Okay. And throughout the book, there's images, just like this is a map of the world. And then there is like, let me see if I can find another one. Yeah. So this is like a wolf. You have to, of course, I have read this. I will read the synopsis for you as well. This is technically book one. And then there is a novella that I read, The Fall. And I have that. And it's small, but I have it in the paperback self-published version. And I have also ordered that, which is supposed to come out at the end of June, because I want them all in this version. So I've kind of held off. This is was created by the Broken Binding. So, you know, beautifully done. I absolutely love the front cover. I think it's gorgeous. I think they did a great job with it. So let me read the synopsis for you, as this is book one. Born in fire, tempered in blood, Etheria is a land divided by war and mistrust. The high lords of the south squabble and fight, only kept in check by the Dragon Guard, traitors of the time long past, who served the empire of the north. In the remote villages of southern Etheria, still reeling from the tragic loss of his brother, Callan Briar prepares for the proving, a test of courage and skill that not all survive. But when three strangers arrive in the village of Milltown with a secret they are willing to die for, Callan's world is ripped from under him and he is thrust headfirst into a war that's been raging for centuries. There is no prophecy. His coming was not foretold. He bleeds like any man, and bleed he will. So I read The Fall, the novella, first. Some people say you read it after because it was written after. And I'm like, I felt that because I read The Fall. And The Fall is about the war that starts, about the war that happens and starts everything off. That is thousands of years before the events of this book happen. Okay? And I felt that because I read that, I literally, because if you don't read The Fall, the first prologue part, okay, this part, is going to be hard to understand, I think. Also, the significance of the dragons is going to be hard to understand. So there's a lot of different things that happen in The Fall that lead to this. Now, The Fall, I don't know if it's up here or not. I thought it was, but I guess not. It's not very thick. I think it was like maybe 150 pages at the most, okay? But it was jam-packed 150 pages. I gave that book 5 stars, and it was just a novella. I loved the introduction into this world. So I can't wait to get the fall version of this. It is the only novella that I would buy. The other novellas are typically smaller, and they're all on KU. So, and they all occur at certain points through the series. I think there are currently 4 books in the series. So it sort of goes from there, you know, with it. But so good. It's an epic fantasy. There is no romance in this. It is about war, and it is definitely about magic. and there are all kinds of magical beings, so it's definitely a fantasy world. And then, of course, there's dragons, and like there's dragons. So love this. So that, of course, trophy copy, right? Just like Operation Bounce House, trophy copy. Okay, so this next one is what I would call a very pretty copy, but it just is the copy that matches the first book that was in the series. And this is Rites of the Starling by Devney Perry. So the first book was Shield of Sparrows, and I gave that book 5 stars. Absolutely loved it, okay? I loved the characters, but I also thoroughly loved the world it was in. So because this is a continuation, I can't say too much. I mean, yeah, I can't say anything because it would completely give it away, because Shield of Sparrows ended on a huge cliffhanger at the end. Huge cliffhanger. But I can tell you that it goes from land to sea to land, and even on the sea, there's monsters on the sea, monsters on land, and then there are these things. What the hell are they called? Do they have it in here? It says Calandra's 5 kingdoms on the verge of it. Oh, there it is. Calandra's 5 kingdoms are on the verge of destruction. The crux migration is coming. So that's what they call them. They call them cruxes. And in the wake of a devastating attack, I've been separated from the man who owns my heart. So that's all I'm going to say. So the cruxes are these winged creatures. That's all I can describe them. And they decimate everything. So basically, it's like they all have to go into hiding and hope they survive. And it's not like a one-day attack. I think this goes on for months. Can't remember the exact amount of time. It was mentioned in the first book, so I cannot remember that. But God, it was so good. Yeah. So this is very pretty copy. Obviously, it's got some nice end papers, I think. Yes, so it's got like nice embossing on the inside here and beautiful sprayed edges. And this is pretty much identical to the copy of Shield of Sparrows that I have. And I think that the cover is spectacular. It's a beautiful, beautiful book design, in my humble opinion, you know. Anyway, can't wait to read that one. That has gone on my series wheel because I started the first book in 2025. So it qualifies for my series wheel. Whereas, which one is it here? Breath of Fire, the Kingmaker Chronicles, that one doesn't qualify for my series wheel because I started the first one this year. Nope. Okay, next one is Bloodbound by Ellis Hunter, which I think this is a duet writing team. It says you duel or you die. So I think this is the first book in a series. I have no idea how long the series is going to be. None whatsoever. But let's read the synopsis on this one. You cannot forfeit, you cannot run, you duel or you die. Astrid has always known she's destined to die. She's the last Noxtern witch and heir to the queendom of Arturia, cursed by a centuries-old covenant to duel the heir to the kingdom of Vatra for the source of all magic, the heart. And now Astrid's time is up. She's heading into enemy territory to face Prince Zarian, I think. Yeah, the most powerful dragon rider in eons, with only her familiar, her potions, and her wits to aid her. She's going to die, and any chance her queendom has of curing the blight that's ravaging the lands and killing people will die with her. Meanwhile, deep in dragon country, Skylar and her traveling troupe arrive in Vatra's capital, ready to profit off the legions of spectators swarming to the city ahead of the duel. She despises the royals and all they stand for, especially as the King's Guard murdered her mother. But when her best friend disappears, suspected to have been taken in the conscription, her search takes her closer to the royals than she ever could have imagined. As the duel looms over the kingdom, Skylar and Astrid's fates intertwine. They must battle a growing rebellion, their inner demons, and ultimately those they love most to determine if together they will save or doom their world. Now, I don't know if it's a sapphic romance. I don't think so. I think it's about female friendship. I think somehow I recall somebody saying that that's the case with it, but yeah. Anyways, this is Book of the Month's version of it. Very pretty. It's got some nice sprayed edges, and the only thing they don't typically do, yeah, they don't do anything on the inside. So all of that's very plain, but the end papers are really pretty. So they've done a nice job on some of the books that I've gotten from them. But that's that one. Okay, next one is Fury Bound by Sable Sorensen. And this is the second book in the Direbound series. So Direbound was the first one, and I do have that one. This one is absolutely gorgeous. So it's got the sprayed edges, and it's got some gorgeous end papers. Let me just take this off. Try to do it without too much noise. So front, what is it? Only a monster can lead me out of the dark. So that's that. And then this is the end paper in the front. And I think the back is different. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Like absolutely gorgeous. So really beautiful copy. I think that in the first book, Direbound, I have the paperback copy. So this one was offered on Amazon for a really, really good price, you know. So I was like, yeah, I'll take that. Thank you very much. So I do have that. I think it's beautiful. But I can't really talk about it because it's a series continuation, which sucks, right? Yeah. But I would encourage you to go check out Direbound. I've heard nothing but good things about it. Have not read it yet. I do think it has to do with this woman who goes into the military to save a family member, and then she ends up getting bound to a dire wolf. And the wolf is a wolf, but there is, of course, love interest because it is a romantasy. So I think that's where the white wolf comes in this shot right here. I think that's like, and you can see in the back shot, they are riding wolves, right? So they are bound to these wolves. I think it's kind of a similar idea to Fourth Wing, where they're bound to their dragons, right? Like rider and dragon kind of become one. Yeah. The other one that's like that is the of Blood and Fire. That series as well, The Bound and the Broken, is a series. It's also the dragons and the riders are extremely connected. Okay, and I think that's exactly what Direbound is about. Haven't read it yet. Do you want to read it? It hasn't come up on my TBR. That's my excuse, okay? I don't even think it's in, is it in on my Goodreads Choice Challenge in the fantasy section or romantasy? Maybe it is in there. I don't know. I can't recall offhand, but it might be. Beautiful copy. Okay, last one for this video is This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me by Ilona Andrews, which again, it's a husband and wife duo writing team. And this is more of an epic fantasy, okay? And this one sounds like a lot of fun. Now, I have no idea if this is a standalone or not, but it sounded fantastic. So, page-turning intrigue, portal fantasy, and world-spanning romance joins forces in the most epic adventure yet. When Maggie wakes up cold, filthy, and naked in a gutter, she has one thing going for her. She knows exactly where she is. The back alleys of Cair Torin, a city of magic, mystery and political turmoil, a city that until now had existed solely in the pages of her favorite book. Somehow Maggie has landed inside the fantasy series she spent years obsessively rereading. Her only tools for navigating this gritty world of rival warlords, sorcery, and mayhem, her encyclopedic knowledge of the plot, the setting, and the characters' ambitions, and a mysterious ability to come back to life. But while Maggie apparently can't be killed, though many will try, the same cannot be said for the living, breathing characters she's coming to love. A motley band that includes a former lady's maid, a deadly assassin, various outrageous magical creatures, and a dangerously appealing soldier. Soon, instead of trying to get home, Maggie finds herself enmeshed in the schemes and attentions of dueling princes, dukes, and villains, all while trying to save them and the kingdom of Rellas from the way she knows their stories are supposed to end, in a cataclysmic war. So it says she'll rewrite their story no matter how many times it kills her. I love that. That's what's the other one that's like that? Oh, Long Live Evil. Long Live Evil. So in Long Live Evil, it's a situation where she's very sick in Long Live Evil. She has cancer. She's going to die really young. And she is given an offer that you can go into the book. So it's a little bit different on how it starts, but that's how, and I freaking love that. So when I saw Book of the Month had this, it's like, yeah, absolutely had to pick it up. Okay, so that's it for this haul video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I would really love it if you could let me know if any of these books interest you, or if you have any of them, or if you've read any of them. I would love to know. The other thing I would really appreciate if you could like and subscribe to the video. Always helps me to keep the channel growing and keep me bringing these videos to you. So yeah, that's it for this haul. So this one is going up on Monday, and the next one will follow on the following Thursday. So you're going to get both of them in the same week, and you'll be able to see them. And as I said, the next one is going to be mysteries, thrillers, horrors. So we're going to cover the gamut on that. Okay? All right, so that's it for now, and we will see you in the next video.